Welcome to Beauty in Stories. This is a space where short, meaningful tales invite us to explore life's deep lessons and the beauty of emotions. Each story becomes a journey to listen, reflect, and rediscover values that are often overlooked in the busyness of life. Join us as we uncover inspiration, joy, and connection in these stories every day. And now, let's dive into today's story, The Priceless Gift of Love. $1.87, that was it. Every day, she tried to spend as little as possible at the market. She wandered around, looking for the cheapest cuts of meat and vegetables for their daily meals. Even when exhausted, she searched relentlessly. Every penny she saved felt like a victory. Della counted the small pile of coins again. No mistake. Just $1.87. And tomorrow was Christmas. There was nothing else she could do but sit down and cry. In that small, shabby room, Della sobbed quietly. She and her husband, James Dillingham Young, lived in this modest apartment in New York City. It had one bedroom, a bathroom, and a kitchen. James Dillingham Young was fortunate enough to have a job, though it didn't pay much. Nearly all his salary went toward rent. Della had tried hard to find work but had no luck. Still, she felt happy every time she held her James Dillingham Young, in her arms when he came home. Della stopped crying, dried her face, and looked out the window at a gray cat walking along the wall outside. Tomorrow was Christmas, and she had only $1.87 to buy a gift for her Jim. She wanted to get him something truly meaningful, something that would show all the love she had for him. Suddenly, Della turned to the mirror hanging on the wall. Her eyes lit up. The James Dillingham Youngs owned only two possessions they held dear. One was Jim's gold pocket watch, a family heirloom that had belonged to his father and grandfather before him. The other was Della's long, beautiful hair. Della let her hair down. It flowed like a shining cascade, draping over her shoulders like a luxurious cloak. She stood still for a moment, her lips quivering, then sniffled softly. Della walked slowly along the streets, passing store after store, until she stopped in front of a sign that read, Madame Eloise. She stepped inside, greeted by a stout woman who didn't resemble the elegance her shop name suggested.
Do you buy hair?
Della asked.
I buy hair,
The woman replied.
Take off your hat and let me have a look.
Della removed her hat, and her gorgeous brown hair tumbled down.
$20,
The woman said, lifting the silky strands with care.
Cut it off and give me the money.
Della said. The next 2 hours flew by. Della searched every store for the perfect gift, her heart soaring with joy. Finally, she found it, a gold chain for Jim's watch. Jim treasured his pocket watch, but it lacked a proper chain. When Della saw this chain, she knew it was perfect. She spent $21 on it and hurried home with the 87 cents she had left. At home, Della looked at her reflection in the mirror, wondering what to do with her now very short hair. After half an hour, she had prepared everything and looked at herself again. Her hair was now in tight, springy curls all over her head.
Oh, God. I look like a schoolgirl.
She thought.
What will Jim say when he sees me like this?
By 7 o'clock, dinner was almost ready. Della waited nervously, hoping she still looked beautiful to Jim. The door opened, and Jim stepped in. He looked thin and in need of a new coat. Jim stared at Della. His expression unreadable. She froze, unable to figure out what he was thinking. He wasn't angry or shocked. He just stood there, looking at her with a peculiar gaze. Della rushed to him and burst into tears.
Don't look at me like that. Jim, I sold my hair to buy you a gift. It will grow back. I promise. I just had to do it. Please. Say Merry Christmas. I have a wonderful gift for you.
You cut off your hair.
Jim asked.
Yes. I sold it. Don't you love me anymore? I'm still me. Jim?
She cried. Jim looked around and asked, as if in a daze.
You say you sold your hair?
Yes. I did. Because I love you. Can we have dinner now? Jim?
Jim suddenly hugged her tightly and pulled something from his pocket. He placed it on the table and said,
I'll love you, Della. Whether your hair is short or long. Open this, and you'll understand why I was so stunned.
Della tore off the wrapping paper and let out a joyful cry before tears of happiness streamed down her cheeks. Inside was a set of hair combs, beautiful, expensive combs she had dreamed of owning when she first saw them in a store window. Now, they were hers. But her hair was too short to use them. Della held the combs lovingly, her eyes brimming with gratitude.
My hair will grow back quickly. Jim?
She said before running to fetch the gold chain she had bought for him.
Isn't it lovely? I searched everywhere for it. Now you'll be able to admire your watch 100 times a day. Come on. Give it to me so I can see how it looks with this chain.
But Jim didn't do as she asked. He sat down, smiled, and said,
Let's put our gifts away for now. They're wonderful. But you see, I sold my watch to buy those combs for you. Now, let's have dinner, my dear.
Conclusion. Life is a tender symphony of beautiful contradictions. In love, value isn't found in the gifts we exchange but in the heart that gives them. In the quiet sacrifices we make for one another. Della and Jim's story reminds us that true wealth isn't measured by possessions but by the love and sincerity we offer to those we hold dear. Sometimes, the most precious things aren't meant to be owned or displayed, they're meant to be felt, to be shared. And as they showed each other, love doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be deep enough to warm the heart on a cold winter's night. Thank you for joining Beauty in Stories for today's tale. I hope these moments have brought you meaningful insights and inspiration. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any upcoming stories. See you in the next one.
Goodbye!